Welcome to the show. Many years ago, when I just started my television career doing a TV series on SABC and ETV called Ramadan at 4, I was introduced to Jawaad Shabodien of IK Children's Foundation. At the time, a little boy by the name of Abu Bakr da Costa needed a cochlear implant, and this was coming at a phenomenal cost. While the show partnered with IK to assist and make the operation possible, and the rest, as they say, is history. Jawaad Shabodien and IK Foundation has to date been doing tremendous work in alleviating the plight of sick children, a subject that's very close to my heart. He is the CEO and founder of IK Foundation. Jawaad, welcome to the program.
Shukran Faizal for inviting me.
It's been a long time.
Very long time, in fact, almost 10 years.
Yes, and recently I've been looking at those articles and those pictures and reminiscing about that, and I realized when we met a couple of days before the show that you are still doing what you were doing back then, but some things has changed.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, we've done actually quite a lot. That was the special projects, the cochlear operations, that was one of it. We're also obviously looking into feeding schemes. We're looking at many various other projects, which is our youth development, skills development. There's many other divisions of IK, but in the space of the cochlear implants, I think we've done well. Since that time, we've done about 6 other children in between.
That's phenomenal.
And if one look at the progress they've made, in fact, that is our biggest milestone within IK, to make that difference in someone's life.
And that's the important tenet. But making a difference in someone's life is perhaps the goal of an organization. But there are people behind these organizations, and we know that you're the founder and CEO. But I've noticed something, and that is that you seem to stay on the low-key side. But the interview permits us to find out who Jawaad Shabodien is.
Well, low-key is the best way to go, because that's how I prefer. You actually managed to get me here.
Well, Jawaad, last week I mentioned that I was going to meet up with you to my brother, and he said that Jawaad seems to be on the low-key side, but IK, we hear all about that. And you've taken a very specific stance and approach to the way that you manage your affairs with IK. But we need to understand who Jawaad Shabodien is to understand IK, because you're the founder.
For myself, I'm quite happy to be in the background. I've taken up the role of basically doing the marketing for IK, and which allows me to take the photos. Hence, I'm not in the photo, so I'm quite happy with that. As far as the passion for the work is, that was the intention. I always go back, and when I speak to the staff and I speak to the team and all the people involved with IK, I always go back to what is our initial intention. It was to assist people. If you look at our primary objectives, is to form structures within communities and society, and never for me to be in the front line. I don't prefer to be that. When we have functions, people call up my name, I walk to the back, I walk out. In fact, I don't prefer to be in the front line.
That's very
so
interesting.
You've actually done well to get me here so far.
That's very interesting. But as you can see, it's only the two of us, so that's fine.
For now.
You know, going back to at the time when, and I like making reference to this particular incident, was with the cochlear implant with Abu Bakr da Costa. We know that at the time, you perhaps started the organization just before that. And then we had the TV stint, and you moved on and did many other projects after that. Take us through some of the history of IK and some of the operations.
Initially, we at the time we did the show, that was in 2004 or 5, if I'm not mistaken, and I think IK opened its doors in fact, officially registered in 2002. However, we did the work prior to that. Obviously, with social development and services, they take a while before they give you registration. But because we did the work and I took the risk, I'm a person that takes risk. So I took the risk because for me, I did nothing illegal, and we didn't do any. We did basically good work, and we're still doing good work, alhamdulillah, with qudrat of Allah. But at the end of the day, I went ahead and I did the work. But 2002 in April, we got the registration through social services, and we could basically openly do our work outside. From that time, we did a lot of feeding schemes linked up with learning institutions, because I was not with I kind of, because I've got background, corporate background, I come from marketing and management. That is my background basically. I do things different than how other people do. I don't prefer to do a cake sale and have a fundraiser like that. I do it completely different. I was also involved in previous, like 2 other organizations called me in, wanted to get me on board. And I saw the good intention there, but obviously corporate governance wasn't there. And as much as I tried to bring it in, it just didn't come in. And obviously you need to go where it's best for you and for the future of, if the intention is there for community and for not for yourself. So at the end of the day, I moved from feeding and development, meaning like skills development and semi-skilled to skilled. That is our core or initial when we started out IK, until one of our sponsors or donors approached us, which is Abu Bakr da Costa's grandmother, to ask if we can't assist because her grandson needs his operation. And that is how we came into the cochlear operations of assisting people. Prior to that, and even till today, we had outreach programs with Red Cross Children's Hospital, Tygerberg Hospital, Children's Hospital, where we go and we visit the different wards. Sometimes you find children being in there, and because they come from areas outside of Cape Town, the parents leaves them there and have to go back because it's working class people. That child is laying there alone. They don't have nobody to basically visit them, to comfort them and to give them or show them that love. And IK's team, since from that time till now, in fact, we've been doing that in the different wards. We either go in and we feed the parents that is there without food, or it's a state hospital, so the people's condition, you look at that as well. So we've done outreach programs for the different hospitals as well. Red Cross Burns unit knows us very well because we've done work with them over the years. We've got certificates and a lot of accreditations from the various institutions. We've also moved on, the cochlears is one of the operations we've done that time. We've also done about 7 after that in total. Amir Kamar was one of the beneficiaries. Kerwin Matthys was another beneficiary. Eventually we built up such a reputation with the Cochlear Institute, the Karel de Toy Center in Tygerberg, that they started referring people to us to say, you need a fundraiser, go to IK Children's Foundation. That's where we came in. That's the relation we built up. Right up till today, we still have that relationship.
So with regards to the actual operations, are they mainly cochlear implants, or are they a range of other operations for children? Because you mentioned the Burns unit, and I wasn't aware of the other operations at all.
We've also done fundraising for a Mickey operation, which is a small operation. It's not so expensive as and intense as the others. It's basically just a tube for the stomach if you can't, for feeding and that. We've done
but it
that.
makes a huge difference to somebody out there.
It changes someone's life because by you alleviating them from the condition, which is a big...
Yes,
big
so if you define the actual operation of IK Children's Foundation, you registered as an NPO or NGO?
We are a non-profit organization, so all our fundraisers we do, basically it all goes into our projects. We have a few sponsors that come on board that takes care of overheads, but it's tough times. Even the current economic climate that we're in, it's very difficult. Previous years people used to donate 200 Rand, the same person is donating now 50 Rand. You can't blame the person.
The United Nations has just announced that they're running out of supplies and can no longer supply food to refugees in Syria. And that came along this week. So if organizations like the United Nations is running out of money for aid, obviously the small organizations are going to be affected too.
Most definitely.
So there's lots of challenges in what you do. How do you cope with that?
Fundraising is the biggest challenge, I would say, and also because, like you mentioned earlier in our interview, it's low-key. A lot of the work we do, because we do it for the good intention. However, we've discovered over years that people also want to see where their money is going. Hence the website that we've now got. We've got 2 websites that we refer people to, so you can donate online. You can see what we're doing. We've got a very extensive program for 2015 for youth development, for feeding. So all our program, it's all out there now. People can get involved because a lot of the housewives wants to get involved. Our kitchen, we've got a full-on kitchen. People come in, they want to get involved. So in terms of capacity, we've got a working capacity team, and we've got people that are coming in as volunteers. When I take most of the staff that is at IK is permanently employed at IK, so they earn a salary. Because when I take a project on, it's normally 300, 400,000. Today, in fact, for the same operation, Abu Bakr, the cost had then 309,000 for a bilateral cochlear implant. It's now almost 500,000.
That's
so it's very, very expensive, and that is a space of 6 years, 7 years. It's almost doubled, in fact, and every year it goes up by at least 40,000-50,000 Rand.
Which is quite a bit of money. You mentioned in our pre-briefing that we had before the show, you spoke about the money and the contributions of people, that you're actually collecting it from them in actual fact, you're doing them a favor because they're supposed to be giving charity, and you coming and you're collecting that so that they fulfill a sector of their life that they need to.
100%.
How do you see that?
In fact, quite right what you say is that but we don't want to make it sound or seem like we're doing you a favor. It might be looked at in that way. However, it's not the case. I take it from myself. Many times people would ask me for assistance, and we find people walking through your doors daily. We've got appeal letters coming through our emails and PO box all the time.
That was another component I was going to ask you about. How do you cope with the influx of requests that's going on?
We basically work within our framework, which is mainly we don't give individual donations out to people on one-on-one. We deal with our constitution allows us to give to organizations. Hence, we give to Karel de Twee Center. We don't pay it over to the beneficiary. We pay it over to the hospital, and they obviously manage the funds. Not for any mistrust issues. It's just that we want to make sure that the public funds that we are getting in must be utilized adequately and correctly for the purpose that it is intended for.
I think that there needs to be checks and balances when it comes to public funding at all.
Like I say, I do it different. Our vision is to become a corporate organization, inshallah, one day, and we're striving towards that. And that is also why we do. We have policies in place for just about almost everything. I've done some workshops with Islamic Relief. One of the I look up to them. Gift of the Giver is very good organized. Not to mention there's many others. And I basically learn from how they do things as well, because you need to be structured in order for people to buy into your idea. Someone is not going to give you $1 million if you're not capable of handling 100,000, for instance, because are you capable of doing or running with $1 million? Also, what we've discovered over years in terms of the 50 Rand and the 200 Rand is more and more people, because it's more like if you see it as a business, it's like a cash flow. There's a cash flow every day. So people would think that there's money to be made, in other words. But if you're not in there for the right intentions, and it's been proven over time that people open organization, they close. You'll find people that open an organization like a month or 2 months before the month of Ramadan, which is that's your peak time, like Christmas time would be now. It's peak time in Ramadan.
Business time for organizations.
For organizations. Then you will find because the heart is soft and you want to give that intention. You just feel you want to give, you just want to donate. And you'll find them a month after Ramadan, they don't exist until next year that time. Which tells me that the organization that is doing the work for the entire year is having to take basically, I won't say a loss, because you basically have other organizations taking that percentage. If they're doing the good work, alhamdulillah, that is the good intention, that is admirable, it is done. But you find that you can't see what they're doing with it, and that is a sad part of it, because I've had someone phoning me a few years back to say, you know what, you've taken my client. I don't want to mention the business. The business now decided to give to IK, not to them anymore. So I said, you know what?
So the person deemed it as a client in the first place?
As a client, and not as a donor, first of all. So I said, first of all, we are caretakers of that money is coming in, first of all. Secondly, that's not my money, it's not also your money. So if the money is coming in, it's coming to you, and it comes to me, that can go to anyone, as long as the intention that the money was intended for, if that is carried out, that is important. Not the fact that it's coming in, I've now taken your client, as you would say. It's not the case. So already you can see that the person's thinking level, they're not there for the correct reason. Many times people will do this as 100%, as a job. It's like the trend is that if you have collectors going up to Joburg, they do it as a job because they work like once in the year, and they go out and they collect X amount and they earn X amount, which the Jamiat Ulama in Joburg has got a big problem with that. The Jamiat in Durban's got a problem because people are using it or creating a job of that type of thing, which is not intended, it's not supposed to be. You can earn money, yes, Sharia allows you to earn money, but not to the extent where you create a job and that is just your work that you do, because you'll be talking big money.
Yes, I know of certain organizations, which we're also not going to mention at this stage, that probably bring in about 100 million per year, and they would say that 40% of that is administrative cost. So can you imagine what type of figures we are talking about?
Exactly.
So there's serious implications around that.
Exactly, and my point of that is also, if you look at the various projects to sustain these projects, if you look at the cost of that, if you have $1 million and you take 400,000 just for operational cost or for anything like that, for administrative cost, that is 400,000 you could have invested in a project to create a sustainable project for someone.
Could have seen to another home.
You could have made such a big difference in someone's life, or many people's lives for that matter. And I'm not just referring to feeding and semi-skill and to skill, But you can actually, the sustainable project you can set up to create employment. And that would obviously mean that you can put the person, you don't have to feed him, you can actually put food on his own table. That's the type of project we're looking at. It's no point to just feed. That is why right in the beginning, a lot of organizers, what they do is they go out on a Monday, certain organizer will be in at a certain place, and the next day a different one will be at the same place, and the next day. So Monday to Sunday, you'll find different organizers feeding the same area, the same place. And so what are you doing? You're actually causing more harm than what you're actually doing good, because the person don't need to go work. Who's the person suffering? The child. The children is the people that is suffering in this whole instance, because there's nothing to grow up, and there's no, basically there's nothing to look forward to in that case, which is, it's sad. If you go into areas that we work in, like Heinz Park, Tafelsig, Makassar, these underprivileged areas, if you look at it, it is sad. The children grow up with a mindset, my name needs to go onto a list because government is going to give me a house. That is so sad, because where is it that I need to go find employment, I need to skill myself, I need to empower myself, and I need to actually go out there and do something that is of a benefit to my family one day, and not of the mindset I'm going to get a house from government.
Correct, yes. Now, Jawaad, I want to take you on a different path altogether. I know this is something that you don't like discussing, but I feel it's important from the point of view that people need to understand who they are dealing with and why certain things happen and why they happen a certain way. Now, if we look at yourself, you're one of those people that I know that can go to bed at night knowing that they've made a difference in the world. How does that make you feel?
Alhamdulillah,
you probably never disclose these kind of things, but I would like to know.
Yeah, you're actually putting me on the spot, but yeah,
you're on the spot already.
I'm on the spot. It gives me great gratitude to know that I've made a difference in someone's life, and that is all I want basically. There's nothing I want in terms of, like, for instance, Abu Bakr's, the Costa's family, if they walk in, I walk out, because why? They are so sensitive. I'm very sensitive, and they're very grateful for the difference we made in his life. And if you must see,
so you feel awkward about that?
I'm awkward about it, because the intention is to assist. It's not to. I don't want anything for myself. There's no mileage out there. It's my akhira account basically, and it's just not mine. There's people in this organization that works very, very hard, and I'm basically every day throughout the month, I'm the worst person, or the person that they don't want to see till the end of the month.
What was the moment that you sat back down 13, 14 years ago and decided that you needed to do this? Was it just something you saw, or something that happened that you said, I need to do this?
In fact, if I look back and I walked in the mall, and the thought just came across my mind, I thought, you know what, I need to open this organization. We can actually assist our people. Yes, we assist, like if we make the comparison, Palestine, we need Palestine. We need to assist them, not saying we must not. If we look in Nova Park, if we look in various other areas, for instance, Delft, Blikkiesdorp, you open your window, you look into Palestine. You look right into the condition.
I'm in total agreement with you. I know that there's many organizations doing that excellent work that they are doing, but not everybody could do the same thing. Malcolm X once said that we need to think globally, but we need to work locally. And the reason he said that was because you are very right in saying that the Palestinians, Cairo's, Egypt, and all the unrest and issues that's going on is but down the road from you, where you are right now.
Correct.
And if you cannot solve that, you cannot solve the problems of the world.
100%. So that is basically in terms of where we are with the history of IK.
Going forward, you've got to a point where it's many years down the line. You mentioned early on that organizations, they are fly by nights. They come in and they come out and that sort of thing. But we know that's not the case with you. You've been there for many years and you've built up that reputation, despite you thinking that you don't have a reputation. You do. We've been watching you for many years and following exactly what you're up to and that sort of thing. Therefore, I think this interview is just very critical that we're actually doing this all these years later. But taking this forward, where do you see it going? You mentioned corporatization.
We basically rightfully said is that many people, I consider myself as small as started yesterday, being in the background. Many people think different. Many people know about IK, a lot of people don't. We basically supported across the Western Cape, even up to Joburg at one point. They needed assistance. We assisted on that side as well. If I look more locally in the Western Cape, which is our area of operation, we've done a lot of good work, alhamdulillah, and the team has done phenomenal work on it. We are at the point now where government is actually recognized. Coming back to Abu Bakr da Costa every time, is that he is also pilot to government now, because governments realize that there's a need with cochlear. When a few years back, when you mentioned to someone a cochlear, it's like, what is cochlear? They don't know what it is. Now a lot of people know, and a lot of people still don't know. Same with IKE, is that we are now looking at marketing. We are now looking at really growing. It is what I always say to them is, it's take off time, in the sense of we need to tap into the corporate as well as to government, because government is recognizing the work. If you speak to people, many people that say we're doing sterling work, we don't realize, and we're not even aware, even people in IKE, I say we are so caught up in doing the actual work, we're not even realizing the good work we're doing. It's other people that makes us aware of the sterling work that we do, which is a plus, it's a bonus. And we're going to capitalize on that idea by opening a center in the Mitchells Plain area, inshallah, because a lot of our work we do is in Mitchells Plain and the surrounding area, up to Capricorn in Muizenberg. The CBD in Cape Town is the one area that we're not working in. That is also through research, not that we don't want to. There's a lot of people that is working that side that can service the area. So we basically go from Capricorn, Muizenberg to Mitchells Plain, Makassar, throughout to Easter River. So our area of operations, it's huge, it's big. For feeding, for youth development. We've got a few functions coming up. We've got a Children's Day, annual Children's Day for the past 13 years since our existence. We've got one now this year in the Mitchells Plain Gardens, which Come and Play is going to be. There's a lot of activities going to be there. Our beneficiaries are going to be there. All our sponsors are going to be there. Our donors is going to. We basically have an open day for everyone, so people can mingle. They can talk to each other. And it's basically open for everyone. It's also for our staff to get to know their donors, and the donors to get to know the staff that's calling them, that is talking to them. So it's open day basically on the 11th. I won't say everybody's invited. I might not be able to handle the influx of the response, but it is open for everyone to come that's in the area, and also other people that want to know also more about IKE Children's Foundation. And coming back to the Children's Center, is that we want to open that center because we've got doctors that wants to come on board in terms of working ad hoc in their time. We've got dentists that wants to come on board. We've got psychologists, social workers. We've got professionals that's basically wanting to come on board. Counselors, drug counseling. We just linked up the other day. The Desmond Tutu Foundation actually approached us, and they're doing all the testing for HIV, for TB, drug testing. They're doing it with IKE. And we are taking them into the various communities, so that is a plus for us as well. So it's a lot of organization out there that is now realizing and basically seeing what we're doing, because we are now more open as to what we've done. Not like previous, we've done all the work, but it's like people didn't know what we're doing. That's why people IKE is like they don't know.
It's an important thing that you're mentioning, because although we're reaching the end of the interview, I must mention this to you. I'm involved with the St. Joseph's Home for Children, like I've told you, and the funny thing is that when you go there and you spend a day there and you get involved with the kids and you do all kinds of things and you play with them and whatever it is, you realize when you come out of there and you get back in your car and you get back into your life that was another world, and that's their world, but we are so far away from it unless you're involved with it. So we go about going to the office and we do all kinds of things. We go to the shopping malls and we live a normal life by any standard, but people need to take that one step back and go and look what's actually happening behind the scenes, and these type of things that they don't come across at all. They are life-defining moments, and they were life-defining moments for me to see that there were children that were burnt and children that were walking around with these. There's one incident that really caught my eye. It looked like a little battery device on a trolley, and this child needed to carry this thing around all the time. And I sometimes complain having to pull my bag around, going to airports and stuff. And I thought about it and I said, I'm able to put my bag down.
You have
my
a
bag's
choice.
heavy sometimes, but I put it down and I've had enough of it for the day. And that's where it ends. But this child needs to go and bath with that thing. The pipes are inside the side and all that kind of things. And you come to realize that the things that you complain about are really not things to complain about. And I think the message that you're taking to people is that you're making that difference because you've seen what there is and what there is not to be seen, and that's important.
I can tell you of an incident where a gentleman phoned me on a weekend, and he phoned on my cell phone, and he says to me, I've got meat, I want to donate it, but I don't want it to go to a specific institution, not for any reason, they've got enough. So I said, no problem. I'll come collect it on condition you're going with me. So he says to me, but that's why I'm giving it to you. So I've got no problem with it. He was in the area. I went there and he thought obviously I wasn't, I don't know what he thought in terms of how serious I was about it, but I was very serious. And I actually got there to him and he says to me, here's the meat, and he gives me the 2 bags, and I said to him, but I'm not taking the meat unless you're going with, you're going to go with me. He says to me, but I called you, you're going to take it. I said, no, I would like you to go with, then you can experience it for yourself, because I experience it all the time, and it's a phenomenal experience. You need to be there in order to experience it, it's like you said now. And after convincing him, because he could see like I'm not going anywhere unless he's going with, so I got in the car and we went to take her to an institution in the area. And when we got there, when I rang the bell, the lady opened the door and says to me, you know what, I just made dua now that we don't have anything here, and here you're standing in front of me. So I said, it's not me, I'm just but the driver, here's the person donating the meat. But the lady knows me because we've got a relationship and we always support this institution, which brings me to another point later which I'll mention. And then when we came inside, the lady opened the fridge. It's a double door freezer, that the long ones, and there was like absolutely nothing in. The lady didn't know what they're going to make for the next few days because there was nothing. And it was also season time like now, so people organize clothes and they don't do the work. So she was worried. And this meat could actually sustain that institution for till the time in the new year. And that man walked out there crying. And that is the point I'm trying to make. People need to get more involved. People need to get, because we're basically just doing their work. That's all we're doing. It's like I said, someone wants to donate, I'm doing it, but collecting it for you. But if you do it yourself, we're so busy and caught up in our own lives, like you say. And at the end of the day, we're too busy to realize, like, I've got the intention to make a donation to someone. And it's the good intention, I really want to, but I don't get there. And I guess actually phoning you to remind you to do that. And we're actually spoiling it by collecting it for you.
Yes,
so correct. We're doing it, we're actually making sure that you get your reward.
Yes. And Jawaad, we've reached the end of the program. In conclusion, who would you like to thank for the work that you actually do? I know that you have a team around you. You might not need to mention names, but who do you want to thank for doing what you do?
Alhamdulillah, without the executive committee and first of all also the working team, let me just give you the different divisions within IK to thank everyone, because I won't do justice if I don't do that. We've got a youth development team, we've got a women's forum team, we have a feeding scheme coordinator, that team that is connected with learning institutions. We don't randomly go dish out. You won't find us pulling up somewhere and dishing out food. We don't do it like that. We do it different. Like I said in the beginning, we do things completely different. I would like people to get involved, phone us, get in contact with us, see how you can assist. And it is, I always say, with us putting up a center of 2 million or 3 million or 5 million, it's not the case. It's not the issue of the center must be our center. The center is there for the purpose of the community. And it can be in whoever's name. Just put up the center, let us do the work. That is the objective. So if people want for us to feed, for instance, as an example, don't give us the 50 rand, give us the bread. Buy the peanut butter. Get involved, take the knife and put it on the bread. Get involved in that way. It's getting the job done at the end of the day. Coming back to thanking of our people, is that our youth people, our feeding people, our women's forum, who is also involved with the youth as well as the senior citizens. We had a Muharram program not too long ago, and our senior citizens basically, they just adopted their name. I said, I'm going to sue you for using IK's name. They said, no, we just decided we're going to be IK seniors now. They just call it, they open their own club now. So we've now have an IK seniors club as well. Yes. So we've got the children, we've got the seniors, which is also our children, and our mothers and grandmothers. So I won't be doing justice if I don't thank all these people, because really I'm really a pain to all of them, and I know that. But if I look back, and they can also say it, and it's actually, I was sitting back the other night, someone was rectifying the other one, and I say, oh, it's actually paying, it is actually, there is some fruits to this thing, because yes. The one was rectifying, if I was there I would have done it like that, and he won't accept that. So it is, someone is taking notes somewhere, but they're just giving me a hard time, but the job gets done, that's the bottom line. Yes. And they're doing great work, so I want to thank my team, I want to thank the donors and the sponsors out there. And I would like people to get on board, because we're doing good work and great work, and we can do just better with the involvement and of our communities and our businesses and our corporates. Get on board. That's all. Jawaad,
we're going to have your details on the screen. It's been an interesting interview and catch up with you. The man that says that is a pain to others, alleviating the pain of others. That's something interesting. Well, the details are on the screen for IK Foundation. Jawaad has been doing lots of work. He's the CEO and founder of IK Children's Foundation. Please do support him and get in touch with him. Until next time, goodbye.